Well, it's fair to say this guy definitely is going to be getting fired very soon.
On a scale from 1 to 10, my friend, you're fucked.
Yep, you are screwed, as of course that person being replaced is a certainty. All of this as now there are bigger political conversations about what will happen for the future of political discourse in this country, as the left has overwhelmingly adopted a lot of absolutely crazy and insane policies, as the question remains, who will fill in for the shoes and the legacies of Charlie Kirk? As I think the answer is pretty clear, all of us, but there's an interesting debate that's happening right now, as there's a big division within the Republican right-wing conservative media space that is pretty evident right now, as we have some very interesting comments from Charlie Kirk's best friend and producer, Andrew Colville, that really, I think, answered a lot of the questions, a lot of the conspiracies that have been happening behind the scenes that I think are more important to talk about than ever, specifically when it comes to the rumors of foreign government intervention here and what Charlie was saying beforehand. Mark Dice had some very interesting comments about this. All of this as Mark Levin is talking about this bigger right-wing Republican battle that is being shaped up for 2028. That definitely will be a major fight between right-wing political thought representatives that clearly are vying for the most amount of influence and power than ever. Now, some of them are going off into some little bit of a, kooky territory. We'll get into that with some of the more kind of salacious theories out there, as the attack fangs are out. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of this kind of unfolds here, as we have a lot of different people now making it more clear than ever that the divide between the right is pretty big. Now, it would be advantageous for the left and other type of interests in order to try to destroy the right to play up on these, which I think we also need to question, as we will be in this particular video. And if you like these type of conversations, subscribe, click the notification button, as of course we greatly appreciate all of the time and attention that you give us. Now, we're finding out that TPUSA will be continuing their college tour that Charlie Kirk was supposed to be on, and sadly won't because of left-wing radical insane violence. Now, other people from the Daily Wire, and also other individuals like Tucker Carlson, a good mix of, I think, the representation of the two divides here, will be filling in for Charlie Kirk and doing a lot of these talks and speeches, as now activists are trying to shut down these college campus events, warning that there's going to be dangers against the safety of the students. Yeah, from whom? From who? From whom? Who's the one that's going to be the most dangerous? Who? I find it very interesting that they fail to mention that because of left-wing violence, we can't have conversations about left-wing violence. How convenient. Interesting. As now, listen, there's probably going to be some college institutions. There's probably going to be some insurance companies, some security companies that say, listen, this is too much of a threat. There's going to be more threats. There's going to be more harassments. There's already a lot of two major incidents, one outside of an ABC building, one in New Hampshire, that are highlighting more left-wing violence, that are extremely dangerous, that are being significantly underplayed, that do really need to be talked about. That's why I think it should be important for the right to kind of come together during this moment. And it was kind of disappointing to see the fighting already happening within days between major online personalities. The biggest fights that I saw were between Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, and I'm like, really? Now we got to fight? Now we gotta use this situation to try to one-up each other? And I thought it was just not a smart strategic approach here, as now there were a lot of theories that came out that specifically talked about Charlie being offered $150 million from Israel, a rumor that was spread online, as there are even conversations from Charlie that we're going to be playing in this video that highlight how there was a tremendous amount of pressure. Tucker Carlson came out and says that Charlie was even tormented by a lot of these people that were really mad at allowing Tucker Carlson to have a voice here. And Tucker Carlson described situations where Charlie Kirk was kind of pushing him to say and to express himself as wildly as Tucker has been expressing himself. Now, this is important because some people are taking this and saying, oh, automatically, it means There's a huge, vast, grand conspiracy, and it's all these one particular racial ethnic group that is responsible for this. Again, as we said from the very beginning, no proof and evidence of that is clear, right? We don't have that. And we've said that from day one. Now, that hasn't stopped a lot of the theorists. Andrew Koval here, who I talked to personally, and has reassured me of what's been kind of going on, behind the scenes before even Charlie's passing, is an individual that now cleared the record. Some people are saying his wife was going to clear the record. It looks like Andrew's clearing the record, and I think he earnestly talked about it.
A couple things that it's worth clarifying. And you asked me this earlier, so let me make sure I'd say it. Charlie's position on Israel was very clear. I like them more than I like Hamas. I just wish I was free to criticize Israel and not be labeled an anti-Semite, because I can criticize my own government and not be called anti-American.
Right.
Yep. And listen, the hypocrisy there is pretty clear. And a lot of people, especially the younger generations, are noticing that, being like, look, we don't believe in a special protected group. We never believed it during the BLM nonsense. Why are we creating our own type of BLM type of scenario and situation, which Charlie spoke out against? Now, again, Charlie also was very nuanced on this particular conversation, and he even came out and said there was no starvation in Gaza. What are you talking about? A situation that got him heavily, of course, criticized by the new right-wing right. He was somewhere, of course, in the middle. I thought his situation was more practical, and I thought he was also walking back and de-radicalizing a lot of people from going to the far right, which I thought was very important. Now with him gone, now the questions remain, what's going to be happening here, as now the internal conflict is kind of brewing. We're going to play the rest of this clip because I think it's important to talk about in full context. Again, I just watched Mark Dykes' video about this. I thought it was well done as well. But before doing all that and a lot more, we got to pay the bills around here. And if you want to support this independent media organization that has been around for 21 years, I'm old. If you want to support all the hard work that I've been doing for the tremendous amount of time without any corporate backing, without any country backing us, with you just supporting us, you can for 20 cents a day. We made it very easy. We made it very simple. You click the link down in the description below. You go right here. You sign up for whatever you could afford. If you're broke, don't sign up. If you can afford it, you got some spare change, you got some money that you could just, whatever, don't care about. If you have $8, it's just $8. It's just one Starbucks yuppie drink. Don't go to the Starbucks yuppie drinks. Just make coffee at home one day and be like, okay, yeah, this one time I'm not going to splurge on the yuppie coffee drink that gives me anxiety. I'm going to support independent media. I'm going to vote with my dollar. And with that, we used to do in real life events when we did like meetups and we went to restaurants together. We did city walks together. We did nature hikes together. We did range days together. Now, because of what happened to Charlie, we're going to have to take a deep, extensive look into security, potentially hiring some. But more importantly, everything's kind of moving online anyway. So I think we're going to be doing more online events, and we are. So in the next few days, I'm going to announce a specific date where all of us are just going to hang out, spend a few hours together, and we're going to do a special live stream, special Q&A. We're going to play some of the videos. We're going to do a show just for members live where you guys get to interact, be a part of it, get to send content. So if you want to be a part of that, I mean, you already get to talk to me on the Telegram channel. The Telegram channel is awesome and amazing. That's one of the many things. 3 master classes, seed oil, cards, exclusive merchandise available at cost, plus a lot more. LukeUnfiltered.com. Sign up right now. We greatly appreciate all the support that you give us very generously, and we are eternally grateful for it. Now, let's continue here from these conversations from Andrew, who I think said things very earnestly here.
But why do I have more freedom to do, that and not criticize, a foreign government? And he was really upset that there was this sort of clampdown on the freedom of expression, the freedom of ideas, free speech when it came to a foreign government. And
we have ICE agents literally investigating op-eds from students that are legally entering this country and following the proper protocols. That's a little ridiculous, okay? And I think Charlie agreed that's ridiculous. Charlie was also working behind the scenes telling Trump, hey, please, Trump, don't bomb Iran. Being a personal close friend of Donald Trump, he literally took his political capital and said, Trump, listen, I disagree with what you're doing with Iran. Please don't bomb Iran. He was also working behind the scenes in order to try to push for maximum disclosures of the Epstein stuff. Two of the most important issues, I think, surrounding the Trump administration in order to save face, in order to help propagate the future of the Republican political party, as well as Trump's reputation. So Charlie was working behind the scenes, working on some of the most core important issues, trying to help Donald Trump against some of the issues that most people criticized him for.
I will say this. He felt like he had earned the right as a friend of the Jewish people over the years and all of the things that he had done. He felt like his bona fides in that respect were unassailable and that he should have the freedom to say, hey, it's time to end the war. Hey, it's time to stop the killing.
Yeah, and he made those policies very clear, and we supported those policies because they were common sense policies. Beforehand, he was literally in Israel with Candace Owens, of all people, with the opening of the embassy that Donald Trump was doing during his first term. And of course, yeah, he was a major advocate, but then they still called him anti-Semitic for some strange reason. And Tucker Carlson talked about how he was deeply offended by that. He was like, I did so much work. I helped you guys out. I'm here for you guys. And you guys are calling me anti-Semitic. He absolutely wasn't anti-Semitic, but people were still using that as a way to pressure him to just be a total ally without daring to question some of the clear hypocrisies here. And clearly, he stood up against a lot of the hypocrisies.
But, when you, with Tucker, for example, yeah, I mean, we took some pushback. We lost some donors. And what's interesting is it wasn't necessarily Jewish donors, although there was, because that's a misconception about Turning Point's funding base, by the way, is, it's not a whole lot of Jewish donors. It's just not. There was always, I saw the comments online like, oh, the Jewish shekels or something like, I mean, it's all this gross stuff. It just wasn't true. And it isn't true. But we did lose, one in particular towards the end that was frustrating. There's this great clip when we were in Myrtle Beach. And
a lot of this stuff was regarding Tucker. Tucker literally went at the Student Action Summit. I was there. And he said, oh, yeah, Epstein was Mossad. Everyone was like, oh. And then he talked about Bill Ackman. And then there was a Bill Ackman meeting, that happened at the Hamptons that a lot of people bring up, that Max Blumenthal is looking into, that Bill Ackman released a full statement on. Now, a lot of people have different kind of loose extrapolations and different kind of theories here. And I'm like, let's just get the facts clear before we jump into any kind of theories here. All right? And there's a lot of kind of disingenuous attacks also happening right now. Can we just stop it? Can we just understand what kind of happened here? Some people are saying, this is not the time for this conversation. And I can understand those kind of sentiments here, but I think it's important to understand what was happening right before the end of this kind of major future leader of the Republican political party, since we want to make sure that we go in the right direction that respects his wishes as well, but also at the same time addresses some of the key core issues that he was dealing with himself, which were pretty severe. Now, does that mean automatically you kind of jump to this conclusion, they did it? No proof, evidence. Give me proof. Give me evidence. And again, for me, just logically, it just doesn't make any sense at all. Because if this was a top-down foreign government hit job, I mean, you do it different ways. You're like, oh, he choked. Like, oh, yeah, the car hit him here by accident. Oh, no, he fell down the stairs. Oh, no. Like, I think there's other ways to get to somebody, especially from a country that has exploding pagers. Like, oh, no, freak traffic accident. Michael Hastings. Oh, what happened? Michael Hastings 2.0. And again, people would still question everything, just like they are now. Now, is some of the question ridiculous? Yeah. Is some of the question warranted? I think some of the questioning is happening for multiple amount of reasons. I think vast majority of it is from people from good hearts, good places being like, I just don't want this to happen again. I really cared about Charlie. I think there's a legitimate form of that. I think there's also a lot of disingenuous forms of that from the left trying to obfuscate what really happened here so they don't take personal responsibility. I also think there's also a lot of orchestrated, organized people being like, we're going to blame it all on one country and one religion, whether it's China, Ukraine, or Israel, because they just hate that country, and they're going to use any excuse in order to try to propel hatred toward that country. I think all of those things are true, and all those things need to be addressed in a nuanced conversation.
If, from somebody in the audience, if he was going to, debate Candace or, disavow Tucker, and Charlie's answer I thought was amazing. I remember he came off stage. He's like, "Do you like that one?" And I was like,
He would always ask that for reassurance.
Yeah. He always loved like, "Did you see that? Did you really listen?
Yeah, do I look good? Was that a good clip? Do you think that'll go viral?
Yeah. And I remember saying like, "Yeah, I thought it was amazing. It was morally so crystal clear." And he basically said, "I don't appreciate being morally blackmailed." And and every time people would say that to him, he would dig his heels in. It's like, well, maybe Tucker's going to give 2 speeches now at AmFest.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll invite so-and-so.
That was one.
That's good. That was amazing. And again, I was even saying, because there was a tremendous amount of pressure, even from right-wing kind of activists being like, ban Tucker Carlson, prevent Tucker Carlson from speaking. And I'm like, what? Like, we're canceling people now because of opinions and thoughts and expressions that they don't like? I mean, that's ridiculous. Mark Dice today also, did a full video about this, kind of breaking down the kind of conversations happening behind the situations. He described how there were attacks on Megyn Kelly, and then he played this clip between Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk.
Right.
And I, at that point, and so this is what they don't understand. You and I, Megyn, and Tucker is in the same category, and they've tried to go after Tucker.
Yeah.
Is that the more you attack our moral character, the more we're going to double down in a direction, because 100%. Screw you, I don't do it that way, okay? And
that's what Andrew was just talking about. So I think Andrew's telling the truth here.
I will say this. The behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen.
In his comments,
he's hosting voices and debates and conversations where the best idea wins. He hosted a debate with Dave Smith. Good. I thought that debate was awesome and incredible and needed to have. Let both sides argue here. Let's come out with the best type of argument. And now, of course, we have Mark Levin that's coming up and saying, I am gearing up for a massive political battle in 2028 within the GOP. We will see who turns out the most votes and builds the strongest coalition. And then there's the general election, which cannot be won without us. We constitutional conservatives who were crucial in the Reagan coalition, the Tea Party movement, Convention of States, and MAGA have been awakened like never before, and we will be heard from one end of the country to another. We had enough of the, quote, grifters and people who like Germans in the 1930s, the Marxists, the Islamists, and their patsies and their lapdogs. He called the grifters people who didn't want war with Iran, by the way. The people, they don't represent we, the people. They're destroying our country. They reject Trump. Actually, neocons and Ben Shapiro and the likes of You First rejected Trump when he was kind of spewing a lot of pro-America First type of doctrine. And our founding, we reject them. Clint Russell, you have as much as influence as I do, and you're on national television. It's over. You lost. Interesting. Other people are saying your influence is dying. Simon Gooddick, you'll eventually be expelled. Mark my words. And a lot of people are kind of ratioing him, to be quite honest. Owen Schroyer says, Israel first, Levin. Sees the writing on the wall. His mission is failing. Scared and panic. He says the quiet part out loud. He will do everything to make sure only Israel-supporting candidates get elected. The first act of transparency as his true intent is finally revealed here. Matt Gaetz responded to this. There isn't the constituency for Israel first in the Republican Party you think there is. And let's be honest, it's changing. There's a lot of younger people. Charlie Kirk had his ear to the ground with the younger people. And the younger people were talking about the hypocrisies, the weird type of double standard, the weird type of BLM treatment, the weird type of laws on the books, which he was speaking out against because they were against the entitled antithesis of the First Amendment, and free speech, which, of course, was being violated time and time again. And I think these discussions, especially with what's happening behind the scenes with what looks like big money being exchanged for influence here, I think does deserve to be talked about in a full, open, and transparent way. And it is good to see individuals like Andrew Covert setting the record straight and saying, look, man, there was a lot of effort, there was a lot of push, and Charlie doubled down on it. They said, no, Tucker Carlson, I'll make Tucker Carlson give 2 speeches. And it was great seeing Tucker Carlson once again being asked to come back when many people, Gazing Against Groomers, Laura Loomer, and all these other people were like, no, he's going to be speaking. No. And I'm like, well, he's speaking because a lot of people agree with what he's saying. And again, this type of ideological bend, I don't think there's any fixing this divide. Do you think there's anything fixing? Is there anything that could bring the right together? Because I do see this being the major dividing line. And overwhelmingly, as more time goes on, as there's less boomers and more young people, the new form of young people, I do see support for Israel going down. And I do see Mark Levin doing his best here, but politically not succeeding. That's just my analysis. That's just my perspective. What do you think? Is there anything that could actually bring us together and stop a lot of this nonsense and insanity? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for signing up. I am incredibly grateful. I'm going to be here for you guys doing that. And this is why I always say I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.